Frostville Museum is a living history of 19th century Ohio. Placed at the bottom of Cedar Point Hill in the Rocky River Reservation of the Cleveland Metro Parks, Frostville allows a present-day perspective into the past lives of Northeast Ohioans. There is a serenity to the location. The various homes and buildings allow a physical exploration of the past. We will be touring the outsides of the Barton Road Church, the Prechtel House, the Jenkins Cabin, and the Carpenter House. The Barton Road Church was believed to be constructed around 1847. A Methodist congregation used the building for worship until around 1868. The church was built on land owned by Amos Briggs, the son of Thomas Briggs. Thomas Briggs was the original residence of the Briggs house. A descendant of the Briggs family, Mr. Bill Elliott, was able to produce a church attendance book from 1833 to 1868. In 1851, John Baldwin, a founder of Baldwin College, later to be Baldwin-Wallace University, gave a sermon at the church. The Barton Road Church has served as an important meeting place for early settlers in the 19th century Ohio. The Prechtel House was built by a man named Adam Poe around our nation's centennial. Shortly after the construction of the house was purchased by immigrants Martin and Margaret Prechtel from Germany. Martin was a farmer and a cobbler. Immigrants have always been an important part of our history, and by all accounts Martin's business was successful and his family was well liked by the general community. Prior to settlement, the area that is Northeast Ohio was called the Western Reserve. The Western Reserve was sparsely populated until after the War of 1812. Jenkins Cabin provides a prime example of what an early Western Reserve home would have looked like. The cabin is only one room. The Jenkins Cabin is named after the cabin's third resident, William Jenkins, an immigrant from England. Jenkins Cabin is considered the oldest home in North Olmsted, dated around 1820. The Carpenter House was built by John Carpenter, who was originally from Connecticut. Mr. Carpenter's oldest son, Richard, was a founding member of the Barton Road Church, a building that is here in Frostville, as well as a Civil War veteran. The Carpenter House is the only home in Frostville with the distinction of being on the Historic American Building Survey. The U.S. Department of the Interior placed the home on the list in 1935. A wide variety of homes and structures are also on the list, including various Frank Lloyd Wright homes and the Golden Gate Bridge. In front of us is the Briggs house. Thomas Briggs had brought his family to North Olmsted in 1817. He, along with David Stearns, became prominent members of the community. Mr. Briggs, after holding several prominent posts within the community, including overseers for the poor, was able to build a new home in 1836. That home's what's standing in front of us. The carpenter who built his home, John Ames, was also hired to build Barton Road Church. The Briggs house remained in the Briggs family line until 1969. Mr. Bill Elliott donated the house as well as the Barton Road attendance records. I hope you enjoyed our very brief tour of the wonderful living museum that is Frostville Village. Frostville Museum is a living history of 19th century Ohio. Placed at the bottom of Cedar Point Hill in the Rocky River Reservation. Prior to settlement, the area that is Northeast Ohio was called the Western Reserve. The Western Reserve was sparsely populated until the end of War of